What causes cavitation? Can you see that the way that the water works? It's creating bubbles. This is a puzzle that Euler worked on, and the Euler cavitation principles. He has all the equations that we need to understand this cavitation. But what we don't understand is the actual mechanism, that's the energy that's creating that cavitation. Euler has his one rotation at the centre, and that's as far as he goes with it. He knows it's there. Victor Levy proved what it is in 1906, vector potential. And then in 1915 he shows how that vector potential is realised as action at the centre of a hollow sphere, a shell. And that the shell of water, of hydrogen and oxygen, is the primal element. Laminar flow, straight line, is the low energy state. It's the default. Turbulent flow is the higher energy state. So the default of water behaviour is laminar flow, straight lines. And it's simply which way round is the surface. The surface should be, in order to maintain the water, the surface should be, pressure from the outside should be greater than the pressure on the inside. The surface should be the right way round, pressing in gravitationally, holding that water molecule in one piece, hydrogen and oxygen in one piece as water. If motion is added to that super highly stressed state, because it's maximum black hole density, if you add movement to that, the surface turns inside out and suddenly the oxygen's on the inside. So there's a bubble. And so it's just simply the rotation of the surface that creates cavitation. And then there's the one rotation at the centre that's holding that cavitation in place. That extra piece of energy that's added from the momentum of the water creates the bubble with the inside out surface. If you remove the rotation, the bubble just goes back to laminar. If you have a bubble that you've created inside a depth of water and you expunge that water, you deflate the bubble using sonic wave through the water, when that bubble goes out, there is a light. A light is shown. It's photoluminescence for a moment, a flash of light. Why is there a flash of light? Well, it's because it's the sound that creates the one rotation at the centre in the first place. The note of resonance of reality that creates the strength of the water itself in the first place. So by having cavitation, inside the water, you've got a surface inside out that wants to revert the other way around. If you add sound to the rotation at the centre, you get additional energy added, and you can see then the additional energy is light. The propagation of light. It's shell theory, Love 1892. Arnold Love makes it very clear in his introduction that all of this history that goes back from a monk in the 13th century through Galileo, through Leonardo da Vinci, through Euler, through Maxwell, through Heaviside, through all of these people have brought forward shell theory to 1892, where Love, compiles the entire history of theory. That theory is the propagation of light. Everything since that moment has been a fucking lie by physics. They're just looking at the explosion of the light, the expansive forces. It's just an expansive force, for heaven's sake, physics. For goodness sake. Give it up. Put a shell around the expansive force and start using Euler's cavitation principles to understand it. Start with Love, get to Levy, 1915. So all your atomic weapons science and all your atomic energy and all of your bullshit, it's all founded on the corruption of light itself. And where does the light come from? Light and sound. Where do they come from? I am the Alpha and the Omega, says God. So do you see what you're messing with now? This is over. The moment that the scalar mind flicks this information about Levy becomes legal, the world changes forever. Where we return to our natural sexual behaviour. We have peace. We live in love. We do our 15-hour working week. And we exist because of we need to take care of the world that God has given us. We are Adam. Our job is to be the caretakers, one being, the caretakers of the world. Simple, isn't it? From one idea that already exists back in science. Is it this year? Is it today? Is it this moment? Is it this minute? Is it this second that you wake up and go, oh, let's look at that. So Levi exists, a professor for 17 years, put all this work together, but we don't know about him. I wonder if expunging physics, making ideas illegal because of the Cold War, because the other people may find out this information, making ideas illegal is really, really suicidally moronic. And in this country, Great Britain, I'm going to do all I can, work might and main, to get this law changed, to get it revealed for the stupidity that it is. Then, finally, we can rise. And imagine, my fellow British subjects, if it's here in Great Britain that the flower of peace, love, truth, justice, the sword of righteousness in our hands, with Christ at our back, standing on the world of God, that world is ours the moment you decide to choose it. Follow the rebel king.